Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. It's time now for Media Watch, and for that I'm joined by James Creedon. Hello there, James. Let's get straight to it.
Laura. Yes.
Libération, this is this left-wing newspaper that doesn't particularly like wealthy people, and they really don't like Bernard Arnault.
They don't like Sarkozy either.
No, they don't like him. They really don't like Bernard Arnault. He's France's richest man, and he's seeking Belgian nationality.
Yes.
They say it's because he's trying to avoid paying higher taxes.
That's right.
He says that's not the case, but they didn't do one front page, they did another one today, didn't
All
they?
right, it's crazy. It's just like we hate Bernard Arnault week at Libération, right? I'll show you yesterday's front page. Let's take a look at this. Casse-toi, riche con. Get lost, you rich fool. Now, that was a paraphrase of a famous Sarkozy moment early on in his presidency where he told a heckler to casse-toi, pauvre con, get lost, you poor fool. So they're linking him to Sarkozy because they actually, Bernard Arnault and Sarkozy were known to be pretty pally and close and all that. So there you go. It was a little, dig for Bernard. What have they done today? Because the backstory here is that Bernard Arnault of LVMH said that he was going to sue Libération. So their response was, well, hey, we're going to put up an even more provocative front page. And this one says, Bernard, si tu reviens, on annule tout. If you come back, we'll cancel everything. Now,
what do they mean by that?
That is a reference to an alleged text message that Nicolas Sarkozy allegedly sent to Cecilia, his ex-wife, just before he got married to Carla Bruni, in which he said, in which he is said to have said, if you come back, I'll cancel everything. So basically what they're doing here is they're being highly provocative. They're taking big Sarkozy gaffes or alleged gaffes and they're linking them to Bernard Arnault and this supposed tax exile business. And they're just being very, very naughty indeed. There you go. That's the idea.
They seem to have something going around the newsroom at Libération. I mean, I don't know if somebody's smoking something with these headlines this week.
Who knows what's going on? Well, actually, will we look at Plantu's take on it? This is Plantu, the cartoonist at Le Monde. He was like, you know what? They had Casse-toi, pauvre con, riche con. They're obviously trying to be provocative. What are we going to have next? Caca la droite, which is like the right is a bit poo. So, are they just targeting right-wingers? Now, the thing is, right, this is actually more than just taking the high moral ground with as regards being a tax exile.
Right.
It's also a smart marketing ploy, because look at the front page. What you've actually got, if we zoom in on it there, is a big ad by Yves Saint Laurent. Now, Yves Saint Laurent are actually competitors of LVMH.
Of course.
So look, there's money to be made out of all this. Now, you could say they've also lost a few advertising deals, apparently, from one of the glossy mags in France owned by this whole LVMH business. Look, in any case, they're taking the high moral ground, but actually it's a clever marketing ploy to get lots of coverage in shows like Media Watch.
Well, I'm sure it's selling newspapers,
elsewhere.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, should we leave this one behind and go to the United States?
As you like. Let's go to the US first. That's the US. It's 9/11.
It's following your script here, James.
I'm sorry. My script is a little bit all over the place, but I will.
You tell us what you want.
We'll go to the fact that the New York Times and the New York Post, two prominent New York newspapers, did not lead on 9/11 on this date, 9/11.
11 years ago today,
11 years
of course.
ago. So this is the New York Post's front page today on some scandal in a school,
Some say
right?
this suggests the country is moving on.
That's right, and the New York Times, the same idea. Now, actually, it's interesting to get the New York Times take on this. There was a public editor for the New York Times by the name of Margaret Sullivan. She said, look, anniversary journalism is kind of difficult to cover. You end up having to look for a different angle every year. It's always the same details that are trotted out. And at a certain point, really, you have to move on. This doesn't mean that the pain, the outrage, or the loss will fade, but the amount of journalism must fade. That's more or less what she said about it. So there you go.
Bit of navel gazing there.
That's right. Now, speaking of navel gazing, what about nipple gazing? Will we
take it away?
Will we?
Whose nipples are we talking about?
All right. Well, this is an imaginary. This is Eve's nipples, actually, of Adam and Eve fame. Now, to explain here, this is the New Yorker. They have cartoons which are very much appreciated, and they have a Facebook page for those cartoons. Here it is, and I actually, get those in my news feed every so often. They're very funny, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, they put up one. Here you see Adam and Eve under the apple tree. Well, it was original, reference to original sin, and who knows what they got up to there. But the whole thing is, she's a bit nude, and Facebook didn't like that, right? So they actually took down their page. And so the New Yorker got very annoyed about it and did this whole skit on their page where they actually reclothed Adam and Eve and said, well, would Facebook like that? Maybe that'd be more to Facebook's liking. And they also pointed out that these are the offending nipples, they're Eve's nipples, and these are the unoffending nipples, they're Adam's nipples, and it's all a little bit ridiculous, really. And they're
And
just
Facebook did that. I mean, that really surprised me. And Facebook's supposed to be the vanguard of freedom of speech and all the rest of
not
it.
when
on
it
there.
comes to little dots that are
dots.
drawn Eve nipples.
Goodness me. Shall we end with a bit of Vladimir Putin? Not his nipples.
Not
I should
his
say,
nipples,
but
although,
his,
you know,
we have seen them there.
We
haven't
have. Well, let's see. Do we have them here?
There
we
we
do
are.
actually.
Oh yes, wonderful. Thank you, James.
His nipples.
Just in case you
Just
missed
in
it.
case. Now let's roll the pictures, because a couple of days ago, on the 5th or 6th of September,
Right.
he pulled his latest publicity stunt where he started migrating with cranes. Do we remember this? It was he's getting up in the
yes.
clouds, and it was just he was following the migration of cranes. Now what of
Let
internet?
no one say that man does not know how to fill his time. He's always in the
Now,
outdoors. Isn't he?
predictably enough, what have internet users been doing, as our own France 24 observers have pointed out? They've been putting him on birds. They've been putting him surfing with, I don't know what that is actually. It's some sort of a great white shark, I think, isn't it? There he is as a monkey. And there he is
With
as
a
Tinky Winky,
Teletubby.
or some sort of add-on to the...
Tinky
what are they called
Winkovich.
again? I can't remember.
Tinky Winkovich.
There you go. So
Brilliant.
look, you can't fool internet users.
Good stuff.
They'll fool you.
I think they call them memes, don't they?
Right?
Memes. Memes. I was showing
memes,
my age there.
memes.
Sorry about that.
Memes in French.
Brilliant. James Green, thank
Thanks,
you very
Laura.
much indeed. Another entertaining media watch. And the fun doesn't stop, because now it's time for web news.